Hey guys, I wanted to go down the route of kind of like a classic FTR here. Somebody asked me for advice the other day, and I realized that what they were asking me for advice for was actually something I made a video about in 2014. I didn't re-upload the video because I thought it was out of date, but considering the question I got asked recently, it actually is a really good advice video. It kind of relates to basically guilting people who have issues. Remember I made a video called Depression Guilting a few years ago, and that one is re-uploaded, basically of me telling people why you should never guilt people who are depressed. And many professional therapists who are not as skilled as I am, believe that one of the ways to help a person who's suicidal is to say the words, "Don't kill yourself," because you'll be letting people down. And I was basically explaining why this is actually a horrible and very unhelpful thing to say. And this actually kind of relates too, because when I made this video in 2014, I wasn't just giving advice. I was also responding to a professional therapist that I found on YouTube. Now, the actual question was, how do I go about helping somebody without letting their problems overtake my life and cause me issues because of stress, irritation, etc. And the therapist in the video basically said, help them the best way you can, but you need to basically take care of yourself first, and if their life or their problems are intruding on your life, basically say to them, okay, listen, I can't deal with this, I gotta go, bye. And again, in the video, I was explaining, you should never actually do that. That's terrible advice. And the question I was asked a couple days ago relates to this. I have a friend who has all these problems, they're schizophrenic and they have all kinds of extreme issues with paranoia, depression, all kinds of things, but they wanted to know how they can help them without their problems causing their life to be miserable, because obviously when you care about somebody deeply, you can very easily take another person's problems and put them on yourself if you're trying to help them, because you get really invested. Now, is it possible to help somebody without being invested? Well, if you are a professional counselor or therapist, you can't be invested, and this is actually common and true with all healthcare. It's not just about helping people with advice. Even if you're a nurse who helps people physically, or a doctor, you can't be emotionally invested in your patients because it will overtake your life and drive you insane. So there is ways of doing this, but how do you keep distance without letting that person know that you're being distant? Because when a person is extremely vulnerable and sad, they want you to be invested. They understand that if you're too invested, it can hurt that person. But when you're obviously depressed or suicidal or whatever, that's not the first thought you're having. The first thought you're having is your own problems. So the only thing you want is for somebody to help you and be fully invested in you, even though subconsciously you know that they can't. And as you, the helper, also knows that you can't, because again, it will drive you crazy. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing is, if the person you're helping can be helped with more casual things, such as distractions, as opposed to actual advice and sessions, go down that route. Talk to the person. Try to keep the conversations unrelated, but very, very interesting. Like talk about video games, movies, sports, whatever interests the person and gets their mind off of their problems. So that's how you do it in a much more casual way, and it will also protect you as the helper because you're keeping things casual. But how do you do it when the issue is more serious? Of course, if you are able to help, even if it's over time, then by all means do that. But the main point here is, how do you keep yourself sane, especially when you reach the point of, I can't do it anymore. You have established that the person you're trying to help is too depressed, is complaining every single day, every single time you talk to them. They're being really dramatic, which by the way is never intentional, but you can perceive it as that. And you want to know, how do I distance myself without hurting this person? And I strongly disagree with a therapist who basically just said, tell them, okay, I gotta go, bye. No, let me, as an actual professional, give you real advice here. How do you actually do it? Unfortunately, you actually will have to let this person down, but you gotta do it without hurting them too much. Let them know and say things such as, listen, I want to help you, and I've been trying to help you the best way that I know how, but I don't think I know enough to actually, fix your problems. I will always be here to support you, and I love you, and I care for you deeply. But I have to also put into perspective my own mental health, and my own physical health, my emotional health. And I need to distance myself a little bit. This is nothing against you. Make sure that when you say to the person, I need to distance myself, you say, or you inform them in some way that this is not against them and it's not personal. Because a person in that state is going to take it personal immediately. It's kind of dumb to think that they wouldn't. So you need to tell them, this is not personal. I do not hate you. I do not dislike you at all. I'm just really struggling here, and although I will always support you, I can't always be there for you at every minute of every day. I can't always be talking to you about these problems. I can be a shoulder to cry on, and I can be someone to listen, but I don't have the skills to help you in the way that you need it. I do not have the time because, I have school or work or whatever. And just really make sure that they know that you distancing yourself is not to hurt them. It's to benefit you. And also, don't guilt them either. Don't make them think that not only do they have these problems in their life, but they're now even causing problems for you too. Because although people love to guilt blame depressed people, the truth is they will blame themselves if you indicate to them that they're making your life hard now. Make sure you just tell them that you're not distancing yourself because they've stressed you out beyond belief, but more so just the fact that you think they need somebody who's more skilled at this than you are. And maybe recommend that they actually go see a real certified therapist or a psychologist or whatever it might be, and then say, if you just need support, I'll be here for you as my friend, but I can't always be in the forefront because it is overtaking my life. I know it's unintentional, but it is, and I care for you, the whole deal. Don't ever make them feel like they're to blame or that there's some drama queen and all this shit. The drama queen stuff is actually incredibly damaging because although they may seem like drama queens and like they're hypersensitive and they're attention seeking and all this stuff, they don't actually mean to do that. It's the depression, the anxiety, the paranoia that makes a person appear this way. They may make your life hard, but they're not actually trying to do that. These are all things that need to be considered and understood before you go guilting somebody who has problems that they need your help with. That's basically it. Learn to distance yourself when you feel overwhelmed by a person who needs help, but don't ever throw the blame and the guilt on them for doing so. And that's the best advice I can give, for the record.